Have you ever wanted to do a more spectacular or eye-catching transition in OBS for your live content? Well, now you can. Once again, OBS Studio is proving to be the top of the line forerunner in live content production. We've got a wealth of new features here. We've got source transitions. We got RTS noise reduction filter. But today, I want to talk about track matte transitions. These stinger transitions are something that I've been looking forward to for a long time and something that I've wanted to do on my streams for a long time. So let's show you how to do that. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe, ring that bell for notifications, and drop a like on this video. Now let's get into it. So what we have here is the OBS wiki, and this article is going over getting started with track matte stinger transitions. And when they say getting started, they really do mean getting started. This is bare bones, goes over what the track matte stinger transitions are. But it does have some useful information when you're going in to create a custom track matte stinger. So the information that we're really interested in on this page is down below here, where it gives us a slight description of what this is if you don't know, where the black is the from scene, the white is the to scene, gray is the degree of fade between from scene and to scene. But the real information that we're interested in is the track mattes for a stinger transition can be divided in 3 ways. And this is in a drop down in the properties of the custom stinger. And these options are everything in the same video file side by side, which we see an example of up above here, everything in the same video file stacked, and this crossed out one in 2 separate video files, which is no longer supported. It was supported in the beta, but it has since been removed because it causes issues with sync with the stinger transition. So they took it out. Now, everything in the same video side by side is what I chose to go with. And what that means is the video file for your track matte stinger transition has to be 3840 by 1080. And that's 2 16:9 videos side by side playing simultaneously in sync. And let's get into how to do that in After Effects. So here we are in After Effects, and what we're going to do is recreate the track matte stinger transition I showed at the beginning of the video. So we want to start a new composition, 1920 by 1080, which I know I told you guys that it needs to be 3840 by 1080, but we're going to fix that later. So 60 frames a second, 3-second duration, background color will not matter because once you start your new composition, we can do the toggle transparency grid, and that will give us a transparent background, which is what we want for what we're doing here. Come up to layers, new, solid, and we're going to do first our black solid layer. Totally black, covering the whole canvas. And then we want another solid layer that's going to be our white solid layer. Totally white, covering the whole canvas. And then we want our wipe transition to happen, which means we're going to drag our linear wipe on this white solid, expand that, effects, linear wipe. Click the stopwatch for transition completion, 0% at our first frame, 100% at our last frame. And this will transition between the two. So let's pull Ollie in since we are recreating that initial transition. Okay, now that Ollie is loaded in here, let's bring this down a little bit. It's a little large. We're going to shrink him down, click the corner, hold shift so we can keep our aspect ratio. We're going to keep him pretty large. And now we are going to transform Ollie. At the very beginning of the animation, we do want him to be kind of on his back foot a little bit, so he's going to be bounding in. And we are going to change the rotation after clicking the stopwatch for rotation and position for our 0 frame. And minus 25 degrees. So now he is going to be bounding in. Halfway through the animation, 1.5 seconds in, we want Ollie to be 0 degrees rotated. It's Control Shift R is the hotkey for rotation, if you didn't know. Very handy. And then at the end of the animation, we want him to be rotated 25 degrees forward and bounding out. So now he is out of the frame. But we'll see as you go through this animation, that wipe starts way too early and doesn't end soon enough. So what we want to do is look for the first frame that Ollie is completely covering the left side of our animation, of our canvas. And we're going to move up the 0% completion there. That is when we want that wipe to start. And then we are going to take our timeline and find the last frame that Ollie is in or covering completely the right side of the frame, which seems to be about right there. We're going to bring our 100% completion to that point. Now, we should be able to watch this animation and see if there's any point where the black and white is on the wrong side of Ollie. And we bring him through, nothing, 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 nothing. Perfect. Excellent. So now that we have our animation complete, if we were to take this at this point and we still had that option for one video file, we would be able to pull this off. But since we do not, we have to do something a little trickier. So what we want to do is we want to have two videos, because remember, we're going to have two videos playing side by side. The first video we want is the actual overlay video, they call it. It's the animation video, which is going to be Ollie running. And we want to make our black solid and white solid hidden. So that way, all we have on screen is Ollie. And if we go through our timeline, it's just him bounding across the screen, having a good time. So what we want to do is we want to add this to our render queue. And for our render queue, it doesn't quite matter, but what we're going to do is do QuickTime. We're going to do Apple ProRes 444 RGB plus alpha, so we get that alpha channel. We do not need any audio output, and that's pretty much all you need to set. You can hit OK, and you can change the title of this. We're going to render this as Track Matte Left. Save, render. Next, we want to go back to our composition, hide Ollie, and only highlight or show the white and black solid. And we want to add this now to our render queue. Once again, QuickTime, RGB plus alpha, Apple ProRes 444, no audio needed. And we're going to call this one Track Matte. Right. Save, render. Next, we want to start a new project where we're going to put these two videos together. So we're going to start another new composition, but this time we're going to do 3840 by 1080, 60 frames a second. And now what we get to do is bring the two videos that we just made together. So first, we're going to bring in the left animation, and you could turn off the background of this if you would like, just so you can see where this is going to line up. And I'm going to work on getting that lined up right now. And that looks pretty good. So now we want to get our right video in. We're going to bring that in here. And this one we want on the complete right side. So we don't want it to be off at all. We want this to be pretty exact. Now, you want to add this to your render queue. I save mine as AVI. That works best for my system. I do RGB plus alpha on that as well, just in case. And then go ahead and click OK. And you can save this as anything you want. I'm going to call it Track Matte Transition. Going to save, and then we render that. So then what you're going to want to do is bring your final animation into OBS. And to do that, you're going to come over here to your scene transitions, and you're going to want to create a new stinger. I already have one set up, so we're going to look at that. This is what you'll see. You'll want to browse to the video file for your stinger transition. Your transition point will want to be however long that animation is. So we're going to put 3000 milliseconds in. Use track matte transition, and this is that invert matte colors that I was telling you about, and make sure the same file side by side is selected. And once you have all that set, you can click OK, and your stinger transition should be good to go. Thank you all for watching the video. I hope you found the tutorial useful. Go out there, create some cool transitions. If you do come up with something, tag me on Twitter or Instagram with what you came up with. I want to see what you guys made. And if you do have any other ideas for transitions or any other tutorials that you want me to put together, go ahead and leave a comment down below. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, ring that bell, and leave a like on this video. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.